Texas!
He's a 10.
I choose this family.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 118 of 911 Lone Star Roundup. I'm one of your hosts, EJ, and with me are my lovely co-hosts, Katie and Grace.
Hey guys.
Hi everyone.
So last episode was our season finale for 911, which we talked about. So today we decided to close out kind of the season and the spring kind of airing of the show as we talk about some of our favorite ship scenes and some categories and all for current ships. And by ships, we don't mean cruise ships, because we've already covered that. And I think we're done with that one for a while.
Nice.
We are going to be covering mostly canon ships, but I'm sure there's maybe some fanon ones slipped in there because, you know, Buddy has been like this overarching friendship since the beginning. So does anybody want to start out with some of their favorite heartwarming scenes?
The thing is we've gotten 7 seasons, so there's like so many things, and
right?
I'm just like, I mean,
we all struggled to remember a little bit, guys. So if we missed any glaring scenes, tell us, like,
right,
come
yeah,
into
for
like
sure.
our Discord or what's our vote, because we all sat down to work on this and we're like, our brains are tired.
yeah.
So
I know. I started writing my
YouTube
notes
is
and I
my best
realized,
friend.
yeah,
just
I
look
just
it up.
relied on being an encyclopedia, which I have been the 911 encyclopedia for.
Yeah.
The show.
Yeah, I think I realized about halfway through what I was doing. I'm putting a lot of 7 and season 2 stuff in here.
Oh, gee, it's almost like those are some of our best.
I was like, and then there's some 3. I was like, I'm kind of skipping seasons here, and I'm like, okay, what happened in those seasons? I had to go look them up because I was like, it's been a while.
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I think the Buck Tommy coffee date was very sweet and like heartwarming.
Yes.
Especially like Buck initiating that like he wants something to go with this relationship and like inviting Tommy to the wedding. And then in like a sense in season 2, the Christmas episode with like them taking Chris and the elf, like that was basically like the scene for like a lot of the Buddy fandom to be like, hey, maybe like we'll get like by Buck or we'll get like something there, because I think mostly for Buck, just because like Eddie had walked away and this is kind of just Buck and the elf. I think that was heartwarming in that sense of like, what is this? And there's like my favorite heartwarming moments are like the little moments that happen in the show.
Yeah.
Those are always my favorite.
Especially in a drama-filled show like this. Like, take what we can get when we get them.
Right. Heartwarming for me, I think, is like when Maddie figured out she was pregnant at the end of season 3. And like how she told Chim. Obviously, I felt it was a heartwarming scene, is like when Eddie was telling Buck about the will after he got shot, and reminding Buck that he's not expendable, that he's wanted, which I think Buck has always wanted to have, is feel needed or wanted. And then obviously, you know, I always love Bobby and Athena's scenes. So like Bobby's support of Athena when she was going through all that with finding out about Emmett's killer, and then the storyline of them in Florida, and then of course, you know, Athena supporting him through all this stuff. And even though it was a rough like couple of episodes, like the end of the episodes, I was really happy with like the reunion in season 7 during the cruise ship disaster, and then also at the end of the season with her like basically supporting him but also like trying to help him. I thought it was really good. Oh, and then Michael proposing to David after the whatever happened at the hospital. I can't remember what happened at the hospital. I think it was a fire. After they were all evacuated, Michael just like proposing to David, and then you know, Karen obviously being such a support to Hen. I think like when Hen was going through trying to go to medical school, and how much Karen was supporting her and trying to like keep her on track was awesome.
Yeah. I'd say probably for me, continuing the theme of Hen Karen, just so much that has happened with like their foster care and adoption journey. But particularly at the end of season 6, when they learned that they were going to be looking at adopting a little girl. At the time, it was supposed to be the infant that fell through in season 7. Then they got Mara, but it was like they kind of had been burned a little bit when it came to like Nia and trying to like foster adopt again. So like just seeing them get all excited, it was so cute. I love my moms. They're so sweet.
Right.
And
We love them.
and I would say Maddie and Chimney, but also finding out like Jian's gender because it had kind of been a rough time. It was a pandemic pregnancy
Oh
that
yeah,
Chim
I
could not
forgot
be
about
part
that.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she was able to save like this little moment for them to be able to experience together, and they were so happy, and it's so cute. I love them. I also said the Buck Tommy coffee scene, but also in heartwarming, I forgot to add a steamy category. The hospital scene when Tommy
Yeah.
comes in after
Yes.
24 hours
Oh yeah.
at the
Yeah.
fire because it was, he didn't have to be there. Buck would have understood, but he showed up anyway, and that's so sweet. Yeah, those are probably my votes for the heartwarming category.
I saw a comparison to that scene, and it was Buck standing at the end of season 1 outside the airport doors, Abby
I've
going
seen this.
in through, and then you've got Tommy coming in through said double doors. And I was like, that's actually kind of like another nod to, like, we've been having a lot of like callbacks and nods to like previous seasons. And I was like, I know it's different situations, but I thought that was kind of cool how they had recognized it. It's been so long since I've watched season 1 that I wouldn't have caught that. But like A+
Yeah.
to those who did, because I think it's important. So we
The
talked
fans are
about
putting in so much work.
yeah, and I know we've
Yeah.
talked about it a lot too. Like you guys, like the fans, and even Oliver and Ryan have said, like, the fans and you guys, the edits and stuff. Like I remember years ago, like long before 911 and other series, I was trying to do all that. I was like, I don't even know where to start with all these fan edits. And then like, there's some amazing ones out there. So guys, like keep up that
sure.
work. Because we love seeing, I love going on YouTube and watching a bunch of that stuff. So
I just scroll Tumblr and I find like some of the best edits or analysis or comparisons. And I'm like, your brains, I want to just pick them. Like I just want to dive in there a little bit.
And all the GIF makers, thank you, because
Oh my
took me a
gosh.
while, but I found my a couple of Tommy scenes, and I've gotten a lot of rocker GIFs. Thank you very much to those who are hanging out in the SWAT fandom.
Oh yes.
So we talked about some heartwarming ones. How about some tear jerkers?
Oh my
Oh my God,
goodness.
yeah. Like, oh, there's so many. Like the one that came to me right away, and I feel like it's an emotional one, but like Maddie and Chim after the whole Doug thing in 213, where they're in the hospital, Chim's in the hospital, and then Maddie comes into the room, and then just like them going through this separately, and then like them having this moment, like them kissing and like them being hurt for like obviously different reasons, but like all tied together. And just the fact that they still had each other after that whole thing, like they could have easily just like been like, this is too much, but like they still had each other, and that is a very like sweet but also very sad moment just because of all the trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said that too. And even when Maddie was in the ambulance telling Buck, talking about like Chim in past tense, and he's like, she thinks that he's dead, and Buck's like, no, he's still alive. So I was like, I thought that was a very like emotionally like scene, but I was like, I was really glad, and I'm really glad she got to have that with her brother too. And then for me, it was like when Bobby and Athena were thinking they were going to drown on the cruise ship, their love confessions, that was like tearjerker. Chim and Maddie for the wedding episode, not knowing where Chim was, that was a really big emotional roller coaster. We've had a few Buck and Eddie ones, so obviously Eddie begins, where Buck's like digging for Eddie, Buck dragging Eddie under the fire truck after he's shot, Eddie running up the ladder after Buck after he's struck by lightning, the tsunami episode with the Chris storyline, and then Eddie and Chris losing Shannon. That was a really big one, which, obviously 5 seasons later or 4 seasons later is still affecting them. So that truly shows like how much losing Shannon has really impacted their lives, as it should, for many reasons. So
yeah.
And I know there's a ton of other ones, but it was hard to think about this stuff, because when you think about it, we have over 100 episodes.
Yeah, it is. Like I'm grateful for like things like YouTube and like TikTok, like all the social media, just because it is like easy to be like, hey, I want to like watch these ship scenes or these scenes, and then just being able to find them easier than having to go through, oh, I need to rewatch this, or I need to go back to this
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a huge help for writing fan fiction too, because if there's a scene that I like, I know specifically what the scene is, I can just type it in on YouTube and find the
Right.
scene, and then I don't have to go dig through the episodes to find that one scene I need.
Yeah. I don't know that I have tearjerker scenes outside of what you guys have already said. Because I do think for quite a lot of them, my brain is blanking a little on these, but I was also going to mention the Eddie Begin scenes. For still the digging in the mud still continues to break my heart, both if you look at it from a friendship level, if you looked at it from a ship level. It's such a hard scene. But yeah, honestly, I don't know that I have anything to add. I know there are so many great scenes that I can't think of right now.
Right.
But
Yeah, and just we're focusing more on relationships of the show, whether it's Buck and Eddie as kind of the fanon bearing of them being together or them as friends, which is obviously true in the show, and then the other relationships. There's ton of heartwarming scenes and heart tear-jerking scenes that are not part of relationships. It's all related to calls they've had or personal life things that have gone on. So like maybe one day we'll do this, but as like just the overarching show.
That would be fun.
Yeah. So let's get away from the tears. How about proud moments?
Oh,
My biggest
there are
one
so
was,
many.
yeah, big Buck coming out to Eddie
Oh my
and
gosh.
Maddie, and then just him being happy and addressing that he's and then being willing to ask Tommy to coffee and like try again, and he's happy, and I'm happy for him, and I'm proud of him.
Yeah, for sure. Such a
For
big
sure.
moment.
Yeah, that too. Also, like for me, I always think of Maddie and Chimney, just because in a sense, like getting married is like a proud moment because Maddie is allowing herself to be happy and honestly for both of them because Chim went through things in like season 1 too because he was dating Tatiana and she literally did not care about him one bit. And I always see like online like people talking about things that I completely forgot about. Like recently I saw like somebody talking about like why every time he's cooking he doesn't like to cook in front of people and stuff. It is just there's like little moments that I always remember and I'm just like for both of them because like Chim has somebody that truly loves him. Same for Maddie, but like in different ways. And I really like that. And I think for me, they have the best evolution of a relationship on the show. Just with everything they went through and stuff. So for me, I really like that.
Yeah. I probably have two to fit this one actually, because I just thought of a second one besides what I wrote down. So Hen and Karen, their vow renewal.
Oh yeah.
I forgot about
Which
that.
also could have gone under heartwarming as well.
Yeah.
But proudest just because they have had so many obstacles and their relationship did nearly disintegrate before we even got to know it in season 1, because of everything with Ava. And just the fact they came this far and I love them so much. And so I'm really proud of everything they went through and how strong they still are and the family they built for themselves. Yeah, I honestly forgot about the vow renewal until I was thinking about it just now. And I was like, wait, that actually happened.
No,
I
the
don't know why
reason
my brain has
why
that. It's like a fanfic.
No,
Well,
the reason why I forget about it is because like wait, was that season 6 or was that season 5?
I want to say season 5.
Okay, the reason why okay, now this really confirms even
I
more
think
things
so.
for me. Yeah, so if we're right and that is season 5, the reason why I forgot about it is because I remembered originally it was because Hen's mom wanted like she was going to get married. But then
Yep.
they kind of surprised it to be like Hen and Karen like for
Yeah.
renewing their vows. And so that's the reason why I forget that that actually happened and also like I don't remember things from season 5 because it was like a mess of a season.
Yeah. It was funny you mentioned that because I remember the picture that they have at Bobby's house of the team from their vow renewal. That's how I remember that it was actually in the show.
Yeah.
Because when Amir was looking at the pictures, he saw that there was a picture on the mantle of
So
Somebody
it
else
was in
has
the
that
finale
too.
of season 5. I just double checked. Finale of
Okay.
season 5.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Makes sense, yeah.
It is kind of
Uh,
weird. This is kind of random, but off topic of this, but like it is kind of weird. And I know I've heard people mention this. It's weird how like at some of their houses they have pictures of scenes of the show, but it's like there is no way you would have a picture of it. Like the porch picture
Yeah.
of Chris and Eddie is talked
Yeah.
about so much of online because people are like,
Yeah. Because it's
this
on the
is so
fridge.
out of character of why
Yeah.
you would have this because nobody was there besides you and Chris, and why would you
Yeah.
have a picture of that? So it's just kind of like the things that they do.
I
It's
think it's a
kind of
little bit of a
weird.
fourth wall breaking kind of
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird in
I
like a
honestly
weird
love
way.
that for them.
Yeah.
Um,
Like
uh,
storytelling wise, it doesn't really make sense, but like we'll just forget that. Also, like I forget because the picture from the wedding they have at somebody else's house too. I can't remember who, but like it's very weird because that was a cast picture and they have it at somebody's house, and then Ravi's originally in the picture, and then they crop him out for at somebody's house. I forget it wasn't at Bobby and Athena's, it was at somebody else's like, and it's just like okay.
They've done that in PK and Carlos's loft too, because there's the picture of Rafa, Ronan, Roxana, and Benito during when they were filming the very first scene they had together in the show, at least. That was a cast photo of the four of them while they were filming the episode, but now it's at the loft.
I feel like that could make a little well actually no, that actually makes no sense. I was just trying to make it make sense in my brain. I was like, wait, that could make sense, but then that wouldn't make sense because Carlos didn't want
Right.
his parents to know TK was his boyfriend because it was like, this
Right.
is my friend from work. Yeah, sure, your
Uh-huh.
friend from work.
but they can play off that kind of thing as oh that happened at a later date kind of deal.
Uh-huh.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
For like the casual fans, like they would be like, okay, but like for us,
Yeah.
no, that does not
Right.
work like that.
Which
My second thing was Bobby and Athena and the proposal for the proud moment things because they had both been so scared of moving on and they
yeah.
both had their like kind of running moments, but
I can't believe that was
it,
season 2.
I can either. Oh my gosh. Um, but they still went through with it anyway, and it originally evolved from Bobby running scared because of the moving in prospect, and then he turns it around and just asks her to marry him.
Oh no, that's
So
crazy.
yeah, that was it. That I just wanted to hit that because that was my
Yeah, I forgot about that. Well, I mean, I didn't forget. It's in season 2. It's just, and I know Athena and Bobby then had talked about even on the cruise ship with what their names are, Norman and whatever her name is. That it's been 5 years. And I'm like, has it been 5 years?
So it does not feel like it at all.
It really doesn't.
They've gone through a lot in their marriage. Let's just say, like season 3 and the whole Athena thing, and then
Oh
that
yeah.
didn't last. Yeah,
Well, if you look at these shows, you're like, how does one person go through this in like 5 or 7 years? Like, it's
right.
crazy. Like, oh my God, time is weird.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of kind of awkward and funny things, like let's talk about funny moments.
Yeah,
And I
there are a
just
few. I think the most recent one that's happened is the whole daddy issues thing, which was funny. Like,
That
I'm
was
yeah,
sorry if
so
you don't think that's
that was
funny.
funny,
funny.
then I don't know what to tell you. That's a you thing, but it is funny just because Buck started it, and Buck and Tommy in that scene are feeding off of each other, feeding
Mhm.
off each other's energy,
Yes.
and like they're just matching it. And I think it makes it funnier that some people in the fandom just don't find it funny and they're just so bothered by it. I think that makes it like 10 times funnier. And just thinking about like Buck, it's funny, and I think that's that funny. There's just so many things that have happened in the show that I'm just like, yep, that's a little bit funny. It's so hard to like pick all of them, but like that's like the one that recently happened that I find a little funny.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know that I necessarily chose one. I think actually all of mine are the same as yours, EJ.
Okay.
As well as the daddy issues one because that
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
actually
Uh,
um
yeah. Yeah. That was a good one. And very recent with the finale.
mhm.
And it was cute for the casual viewer. They're just gonna play it off. I thought it was funny. It's it's fun. It was meant to be fun. They were flirting. Yeah. I also thought when Chim thought he lost the engagement ring in the trash
Oh
pile.
my god.
That was so
And
funny.
him and Hen are digging through it later, and Athena has to quote unquote arrest them. So because of all that whole debacle was hilarious. But G had it all along, like she found it. Ooh, shiny. Yeah.
Or like
Which me
going
too, kiddo. Me too.
or like it's funny when Maddie finds the ring
Mm-hmm.
and then Chim
Mhm.
is like talking with the insurance company and then he's like, wait, I have to tell them that like we found it so that way we don't get arrested or something.
Right. That's
That's
right,
funny,
yeah.
all going off with that too.
Right. Yeah. That whole like body lost the ring storyline was hilarious, and her finding it, and then like how she like set it on the table like across from her, and she's like staring at it, and it's like this big thing, and
Oh my gosh.
yeah. And then I was thinking of Bobby telling the team about Athena being his wife in 301. Like, whose stupid idea was that when they're driving the fire truck to like catch this kid who's got the brakes have gone out on that old car? And like they're like, whose stupid idea was this? And he turns and he's like, my wife. And everyone was just like, say what?
Oh, I also okay, I have one actually that came to mind. It's a very small moment, but when Chim and Karen got drunk, when
Yes.
Karen is starting to worry that Hen was cheating on her because Hen was actually looking at becoming a doctor.
Yeah,
And
because she thought
so
she was hiding something, or that she was leaving the 118, and then Chim was getting drunk because he was afraid he was losing his partner. Yes, I remember that.
and how they're
Yeah.
trying to sort out the actual mix up, and he's just like Chim's just laughing. Maddie's there too, if I recall correctly. So it's a double because I'm pretty sure Maddie like drags him away to shut him up so that Karen and Ben can actually talk.
Yes, yeah. Hen shows us like, what's the heck's going on?
Yeah, no,
That's a good one. I forgot about that.
I forgot about I remembered it and then I couldn't remember if it counted enough as a couple moment. Then I was like, no, wait, it actually does.
Yeah. And then I just added this one in here. So with the whole lightning, somehow Buck has gotten this quick ability to
Oh my
like
gosh.
count cards and have this math ability that he hadn't had before. So like when Eddie and him are taking, he takes him to the card game with some of the other firefighters and they're talking about it. And it was a sweet moment, but I was like, it was also funny because like you could tell Eddie was like, I don't know, proud, but the hard eyes, and it was, yeah, I thought it was cute and funny. And and then the whole like, we're getting paid, and he's getting all the stakes like by the scale. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And I love that this show has the balance of like funny, serious, heartwarming. It's not all like the same thing. There's action, there's drama, there's romance, there's friendships and relationships and stuff. There's a good balance of everything.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, how about any full circle moments? Do you have any of those? Katie, do you want to share what you put in here?
Yeah, I have a lot.
Yeah.
So for me, like Maddie finding out she's pregnant, that is very full circle. And then I think there's a lot of full circle moments that have happened, but that specific one is very full circle because there was a scene where they were at the hospital. Maddie, Athena, and Bobby were there. They were looking at like the newborn babies or whatever. I believe this was like in season 3 after like that woman had like cut the baby out of this other woman and abducted it because she remember that scene? Yeah, they were so they're looking at the babies or whatever in the NICU, and I think like Maddie asks them like, "Oh, do you ever want kids?" And they're like, "No," and she was like not sure if she wanted to have kids because of her like past traumas and just that kind of stuff. And then it was very full circle when she actually like at the end of that season or whatever season later finds out that she actually is pregnant. I think that's very full circle. Like just and like I thought that at the time, like wow. And then another one is like Buck kissing Tommy, and that's very full circle in the sense that fans have headcanoned him as bi for so long.
Yes.
And also like there's so many just like if you go back, there's so many Buck like bi coded scenes for him. So that's like very full circle, and just that we finally like in season 7 are like getting this, like getting something that we all knew was there. It's just kind of weird because there are some fans where like I don't see it, and I'm like, I can literally give you a list of all the scenes where I'm like, it's there,
Yeah.
which I can definitely understand. And like originally not seeing it, there are definitely scenes, but like if you rewatch it now, I think there are definitely a lot of scenes you can put like be like, yep, that was always there.
And also, like, I do think it does bear to remember that Buck is bi. He is still attracted to women.
Right.
So if you're
True.
saying, oh, he loves women as evidence that he's not bi, that doesn't mean shit.
I know, right?
I know. That's the one thing.
Just
Some people are so ignorant
matter.
online because they'll be like, I forget what they'll say, but they'll be like, Buck is gay. And I'm like, no, actually, Buck is bi. He likes men and women. Get that in your
Let's stop
head.
with the bi erasure. Okay. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just like, stop showing your biphobia because, like, it's just like, really?
Or even if it's not maliciously intended, it's genuinely coming from a place of ignorance. Shut up and let the bi people in the room talk. The bi people and also other multisexual people. I can speak from a erasure standpoint, being another multisexual person. I'm not bi, I'm omni.
Right.
But many same experiences are shared there where you're like, oh, you're either not gay enough or not straight enough.
Yeah.
You're neither. Thank you very much.
I have to say, I didn't really think about this one much. But yeah, I definitely agree. The bisexual storyline with Buck is definitely a full circle moment. And even Oliver has mentioned that he's kind of in his head always thought Buck was bisexual.
Yeah,
So to have
because
it
we
out
never
there,
really got like an actual scene of him like confirming. Like we
yeah.
got in like some things, but I think the fact that Oliver has said that where I'm just like whatever Oliver says I'm gonna go with because that's his character at the end of the day.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it
And I
also
love
gives
how
a lot
he's
of
played
insight
him
into how he's been played.
because he's on set getting the directions from the producers and the directors and the writers. I'm like, yeah, I love that. I love that storyline. And I think maybe a full circle moment that I really love is Bobby's storyline, just in general with his, he lost his two kids and his wife in the fire, and that he had a big part in why it happened. And then turn around and now he's got a wife, her two kids, and a Buck as a pseudo child that he's basically been in a father to. He has the family that he lost, didn't replace them. He just has people in his life now, and so I think Bobby has come a long way. So I feel like that's kind of a full circle moment that he's finally realizing that. So I'm hoping.
I agree.
I'm looking forward to season 8 to see what that's going to come of that.
Yeah, I like I like them showing like the non-biological kids because I think it's important to show that like you don't need biological kids to still have that relationship.
You can be a parent no matter in which fashion it shows up
Very true. So, what are our most shocking pairings?
in.
Yeah.
Some of us said the same thing.
We did. I think yeah, this is something I think about a lot. But so when we got Bobby and Athena, so like obviously Bobby's going on this date. We don't know who he's going on a date with or anything. We just know he's going on this date. And then when he gets there and Athena's there, when this aired, this is in the season 1 finale, and I was just like, when this happened, this was a shocking pairing to me because I wasn't expecting this. Like when Athena was there, I was just like, oh, this is interesting. And like at the time, I wasn't sure how I felt about it. I wasn't sure if I liked it or not. I was just like, oh, this is interesting. And then obviously we got season 2, and I was like, I like this. I like this because it could have gone either way. It could have been like a pairing I liked, or I could have not liked it. But that was very surprising. Like I wasn't necessarily expecting it. Like obviously now rewatching it, you could see that they might have went in that direction, but honestly, like at the time, as you're watching it as it's airing, because I've watched 911 since like it aired.
Agreed. Yeah.
And stuff. Lone Star too. So like when you're watching it as it's airing, like you're like not like expecting that, but like it's definitely like there if you were to do rewatch. And then also like Buck Tommy is very surprising just because like wasn't expecting them all. I know there was some like a time when these episodes were airing, like there was some like talk online of like, oh my God, what if Buck and Tommy did? I remember like a week before episode 4 aired, I was like, guys, Tommy is not gay. Like what? Or
Right.
I was just,
I
like,
remember
not
us
expecting.
talking about this topic. We were like,
We
stop,
because for
stop making
sure
every character
pull
gay.
we
Like,
could
can't,
pull up the
hey,
clip. I
Kelly.
could
And
for
then they made
sure
him
pull up the
gay.
clip.
I know.
I
We
know, and
could.
I'm not, yeah. So like that, like I wasn't expecting that, and when Tommy was brought back, like I would have never expected us to get like Tevin out of that, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not that like, okay, it's real for everyone. Nobody really thought that the comments in the Begins episodes like were serious enough. Like and obviously like Tommy coming back wasn't like planned out. So like the stuff that happened in the Begins episodes wasn't necessarily ever going to be explored. And honestly, I didn't really pick up about it at the time until like I saw the clips circling online when we started getting more of Tommy, and then obviously they came out even more after
And then it
episode
makes
4. And
sense.
then it just all like came together like a perfect puzzle, and I'm just like, okay, Tommy being gay makes sense, and now we can watch the
Yeah.
clips in the Begins episodes and be like, okay, like this is all like clean together, and it like does make sense. But it was like a good surprising pairing, I think, because we weren't really expecting it, but they're also like kind of an interesting pairing, but like in a good way. I don't really know how to explain it, but I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
No, I think that's reasonable.
yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I also said like Tommy. And it was like it was most surprising because again, we didn't know Tommy was gay. Buck I didn't realize he was bi yet. And I think to some degree, I feel like a fair amount of fans started to give up on the idea of Buck ever being canonically queer. Not everyone, I'm not gonna say that, but at least a fair amount of people. So it was definitely it was shocking. And I think maybe more shocking than it happening is me being shocked how much I like it.
Yeah, I think that's like a big part of it. And I think like the reason why some people weren't expecting it is because everyone is expecting when we did get that scene that it would be Buddy. And I didn't necessarily think that. I just think some people did.
I definitely thought that if we got that, it would be Buddy. Like I was definitely one of those who thought that.
But I always thought that they wouldn't give us Buddy. I just did.
It's fair.
I think surprising for me was more of the Buck and Abby.
Okay, yeah. I guess I try to block them out of my brain as much as possible just because I
None of us are big fans of
stand.
that.
I still think that relationship is weird.
Yes, it was.
So, and I don't need, I think it's more weird now just because of the fact of how she got his number. Like, if it is okay, let me just put it this way. If the roles had been reversed and it was a man getting a young woman's phone number that way,
oh, we would be screaming creep for ages.
It would be seen as so wrong, but because it's the opposite way, it's also, I think it's weird how people just assume that Abby's ex Tommy is our Tommy, and I think that's really weird. It's not.
I think it'd be funny, but I wouldn't like it to actually. Here, I think the headcanon is funny. I don't want it to actually happen.
Right, yeah.
Like, I would actually hate that a lot.
That would come up if that was actually a thing. Like, that's weird. I don't know. Yeah. Also, I always thought that he was much older. To figure Abby was in like her 40s. This guy's got to be like older than that.
Yeah.
And that was like seasons ago, too.
Yeah.
And then I think the other one that really surprised me was Natalia, but not in the way of it happening because it's Buck, but just her being a death doula and just the why of her relationship. But I'm glad that Buck realized that, he didn't want to keep just dwelling on his death and he wanted to live.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then how about some tense action-packed couple moments? Have we had any? Because I know we have. Anybody want to share?
Oh, for sure. Do you want to go, Katie, or shall I?
I don't care.
I guess I'll go because I know you have more than I do as well. I mainly I mainly said Bobby and Athena. Multiple times, like when she was attacked or when he was stuck in the fire and they were both going to save each other. And not only were those very, very strong couple moments, they were extremely tense moments too. Especially because for both of them, they legitimately thought the other could be dead, especially Bobby thinking that he listened to Athena die. So those are some very tear-jerking, tense moments.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So mine are like in the Henry Begins episode when Karen is like stuck in the lab and obviously there's an explosion there and like that whole scenario just in the whole like 911 scenes was that in general was tense, but just it was the tense part of it, like couple wise, was like when she got out and like we're like, oh okay, everything's good, but then she like passes out and
Oh my God,
collapses,
I forgot about that.
and Hen is like just like Karen, like it like that's very like tense, just and also like it's usually like Ken that's in danger, so the fact that this was happening for Karen, and I know Denny was there too, and um stuff, but like just the fact that this is happening for Karen was just like crazy, and 118 like showing up there, and like obviously they all know about Karen, so like that, and just like the tense moments for our moms, like and then like a very tense recent moment was like Maddie looking for Chimney on their wedding day. Like honestly,
Oh my
watching that
gosh.
episode, I was tense watching that because I was just like, you never know what's gonna happen. So I'm like, is something really gonna happen? I would literally hate that, but like that's just what I was thinking at the time. Like that was so like action packed tense. Like at the time, it was so like nerve-wracking to watch because I'm like, oh my God, is something bad gonna happen? But now like I think it'd be fun to watch again.
I agree with that for sure.
I think I kind of mentioned them earlier, so I wasn't sure I was going to say them here, but obviously the well scene, Buck's, the action of, Buck digging for Eddie, then Eddie running up the ladder at Buck, and that whole like him getting struck by lightning. But I also feel like even its relationships as like friendships too, of like the whole 118 is a family. And just going through that. And
for sure.
I mean, it's a first responder show, so there's a lot of action, the cruise ship, tsunami, though none of the relationships were really in the same situation during the tsunami. Everybody was kind of all over the place.
Yeah, it was pretty like separate.
The lab explosion was definitely, a good one. And being on the other side of it, not just being a first responder there was.
Which I'm pretty sure. What I like is that for all of our couples, I'm pretty sure we're gonna exclude Buck Tommy because they've been together a very short amount of time. All of our couples have had it switched, and they've all been. Almost all of them are. Well, okay, I'd say it's actually a decent half. If you count dispatchers as first responders, which they do, I'm pretty sure they are recognized as first responders now, like officially. Then Maddie is a first responder as well, but it's to a different degree. But Chimney has had to watch and worry, like when it came to the hostage situation. And just like as one example off the top of my head, and we obviously had Hen and Karen with the Henry Begins episode. All of them have been on different sides of having to realize what being in a relationship with a first responder is, obviously, but also these things happening to just everyday people too, because Karen is a scientist. She was not supposed to go near any of this, and yet she still had that happen.
Right.
And the hostage situation was bizarre. And it's like, I don't know if I'm doing a good job of articulating this, but I do think the show does a good job of switching it up. And I do think they're good at making it not just the primary first responders we see at every point in time. And I think that does keep it on edge too. And that's a good thing.
Yeah. I like how they shake it up every once in a while.
Yeah.
You have any other thoughts and stuff before we move on to the next little tidbit we wanted to talk about?
Just I love the little wee woo show. I love this show.
I love this show. Yeah, me too.
I do too. Like honestly, I was thinking this earlier today, but I really like I've always liked 911 and stuff. But I feel like just the fact that we got to like cover season 7 as it's happening, I found like a new love for 911.
Oh, yeah,
And
definitely.
Yeah.
I like that we got to do this. But I also like there's just so many things that like I feel like it's almost like rediscovering a show that you already like, but now like I'm like, oh, I just really love this show and I love what on ABC they were able to do. And just the show really thrived in season 7, and I'm excited to see more, and I'm excited to see, what happens, and it's just a good time.
I agree. Being on ABC and having Tim back at the helm, because Tim came back season 7 to be a primary showrunner again. And I really do I attribute far more to him being there than even us being back on ABC, but also ABC did save 911. That's the reason we were able to get a season 7. And especially because we'd had a couple lackluster in some areas season 5 and 6. I don't know. They were able to capture so much of the magic of what has made the show good in past seasons and able to put it all into season. I don't even care about a couple of the odder storylines we got this season. Yes, I'm talking about the Shannon doppelganger. I don't even care about some of the oddities because they still played all the keys to the music that gets my heart going, and I have loved 911 for years. We all have, obviously, and it was I don't know, it was like coming home almost, like a little bit of nostalgia.
And like their social media was like they upped it this season. Like ABC is better.
Please give that person a raise. ABC, if you're listening, give that person a
ABC
raise.
just does a better job, like social media wise. And I feel like that not only brings in more viewers, but that also like gives more connection because I felt like in the past that really there was no social media presence, even from the actors. Like I don't know if you guys noticed this, but like the actors were even more engaged, which speaks so many levels. And
I started to feel like the actors were starting to check out a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like they got I feel like they just got like I don't know how to explain it, but like they just got a lot more, and like that really showed because I feel like the Fox at a certain point they just felt like they were just pumping out episodes and like we really weren't giving much. It was just like, okay, here you go. So I'm very happy with that. That's why I attribute some things to like ABC and not just Tim being back. But I'm happy about that. Either way.
I'm so excited for season 8.
Yeah, me too.
I'm so excited. And I also hope we get an early confirmation of season 9 as well. Like I hope we get another early confirmation.
Yeah.
Because that'd be great. I love not having to wait
till
the end of the season. I'm sorry, this was great.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like we've come a long way. ABC has definitely been, I think, a good change. I know a lot of people were freaking out about it when it first happened, but you're right. Like social media wise, it's been great. Even Ryan, who's barely on social media, has been on there more actively lately.
Oh yeah.
And just the behind the scenes content we're getting has been like way more than we ever did before.
Also, we should totally do takeovers of the Insta more often. Like they did the actor takeover of the Instagram with airing of episodes and stuff. We need to do that more. I'm sorry, that was so good. Sorry, AJ, I totally jumped into what you were saying, but I want more.
I was familiar with that because other ABC shows do that. So I knew that was a thing that they do. But yeah, like it just gets more engagement.
Well, yeah, and I mean they weren't just taking over and like doing an Instagram live for an hour before the show started or during the airing. They were actually like sharing personal photos that they have taken over the years of them being on the show. And I'm like, I love that. I love that they're letting the actors have some give and leeway with that. And especially these actors, all of them that have been on there since day one, or for Ryan coming in at the beginning of season 2,
or Jennifer,
it was a huge step for them, and then like being recognized and then giving them a piece, because it is, even though they didn't create the show, as actors on the show, they're bringing these characters to life, and it's really nice that they get to kind of show their take on it. And I know Oliver's always on set taking pictures with his own cameras, and I like when he posts like his own photos that he's taken.
He's
I
a
think
good
that's really
photographer.
cool. He is. He's got a good eye.
And like, yeah. And also, I do love, I don't know if Fox did this, so I don't know if this is just an ABC thing or if Fox did this, but also I feel like they acknowledged the crew more a little bit. Like there was a lot of acknowledgement of the crew coming out, I think, this season. Like behind the scenes photos with them, or
Yeah,
I don't
think
know,
that
just them being part of videos. I don't remember if Fox did
I
that.
don't think they
But
really did.
Not really.
not trying to
They
trounce on Fox here. Like I'm decently neutral towards them just overall as a television producing arena.
Yeah.
But it does feel like ABC's more personable with their
Mhm.
crew and their own actors.
Yeah.
So yeah. Loved it. Love it. We got so much.
Yeah, we did. And I think it's very rare, but it does happen when we get to see the dichotomy between one network and another when it comes to that stuff. Most shows, when they're canceled, they just are canceled. Whereas, the show was canceled, but then immediately picked up by ABC. So we got the Fox experience for 6 seasons, and now we have 1 season. We definitely see a difference. Like there is a very specific difference. And I'm glad that we have some comparison, but yeah, you're right. Like I'm not dogging on Fox. I think they've done amazing with what they could do, which kind of leads into what some stuff we wanted to talk about. So we record a couple of days before the show, our podcast airs, and just a few days before we're recording, we got some Lone Star news and some other news that came out. Grace, were we talking about this in the group chat? I think we were.
Yeah, I think we all were talking about it.
I was like,
I did not contribute much because I had a lot going on over the weekend. However, I was reading what you guys were saying, so
I do
know
news
a
to
bit.
Okay.
Yes,
so I went back and I looked at my screenshots on my phone because I wanted to see. So it was confirmed that Sierra McLean, who plays Grace Ryder on 911 Lone Star, will not be coming back for season 5. There was some contract negotiation drama that she just chose not to come back, which is a bummer because we all love Grace.
Yeah, we also don't know like exactly if it was her choice or if they decided to.
Yeah, that's true.
Cut. Like we don't know much information. All we know is it was ahead of season 5, so there's like no real ending. There's like it's gonna be like interesting and like hard to see what they end up doing that wise.
So we don't know. Obviously when the show season 4 ended, they were Judd and Grace were in a good spot in their marriage, so they, a divorce would be a really difficult thing to explain. So we have no idea what the storyline is going to look like. There have been some photos posted by the gal who plays Wyatt's mom, of them being on set and her being on set. So I don't know what that's going to look like.
Because even before this news came out, I don't follow her, but she posted something saying like, "Oh, I'm so excited to be on like the last season of Lone Star or something like that. Like this is a great show, something along the lines of that." And a lot of people were commenting on it until she deleted the post or like edited the caption or whatever she did. I don't really care, but people were like, "What? So that ended up being like caused a lot of stuff, and it's just like a lot of people are like, this woman needs to go to like PR school because like she obviously got in trouble for what she said, because obviously this, if it is true or not, like honestly, like everything that's been posted online is speculation. Even the articles from like TV Line and Deadline, I think even some of the cast commented like they're sharing the articles, but they're also saying that like everything that's in this article so like yes, they talk about it briefly, but it is sort of clickbait because they didn't really necessarily confirm anything in the articles. It's honestly, they're just speculation articles.
Right. Yeah. So on the same day that go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to talk because also I know someone reached out to Tim and asked him about it, and he said that Wyatt's mom, the woman who played Wyatt's mom, misspoke. So obviously, they're not, especially if it's still under negotiation or they're still figuring out, or even if she did absolutely misspeak, he's not going to say it's true.
Right. Yeah, people were using that as if it was concrete evidence, but it's like, even I did a little bit at first when we knew nothing, but like then I thought about it, and it's like if that was really true news, Tim wouldn't be able to say. And in some sense, that's above his pay grade and stuff.
Yeah.
That's not really his decision.
Yeah, and so the same day that we found out that Sierra wasn't coming back, we also found out that Deadline even was posting about the fact that there could be an end in sight for Lone Star, that it may, season 5 may be the last season. And I'm really bummed at the thought of it being over. So Fox is currently airing the network shows they have, and Lone Star is now the only Disney owned show that Fox is airing. And they had a contracted 5 seasons for it. So this is coming to the end of 5 seasons. Unfortunately, with the writers strike last year and the super delay that they had of deciding to not bring it back until fall was a huge problem. But also the ratings play a big part in whether the show is going to get renewed or not. So the show hasn't even started airing yet, and it's not going to until like September. So the chances of us knowing exactly what's going to happen is slim until later in this year or maybe early next year. So it's a bummer. And you're right. Like Tim can't confirm anything that he doesn't know, but so we'll see. So there's a lot of speculation about what's going to happen, who's going to do it. And there have been some talk, and people have reached out to ABC, and it's from what Deadline is saying, ABC is not looking at picking up Lone Star if Fox does cancel them like they did for 911.
Right. They had apparently claimed that like just if Lone Star is canceled that they won't at this time pick it up. I think even like other things that were like quoted were like basically a season 6 renewal, which is all speculation, but even so is like unlikely, because and then they're like with series regulars looking for new work, and it's like there's hope at the network for finding path to keep Lone Star going, but signs point to a season 5 being the final chapter. So that was put out there.
Yeah, I definitely like, obviously a lot of people are just working with speculation or very incomplete parts of the puzzle. Like did Wyatt's mom do the actress, I don't know. Do we know what the actress's name is? It's a lot to say the woman who plays Wyatt's mom. Okay.
I honestly don't care. I'm sorry, she started this drama. Nobody would have been talking about this if she didn't put it out there. And
which did she speak too soon? Or did she mean to say the next season and said did she just literally misspeak, or did she drop something too soon? Like there's also I can imagine she got in a lot of issues for that.
I know that she must have had to get in trouble because the post was like re-edited or deleted or something, from what I've heard from other people. And that's like not a good look.
And I know, like I had mentioned Disney too, and so apparently they've increased their licensing fees, and that's why Fox has been ousting all the Disney owned shows because they can't afford the licensing fees. But because of the pre-existing contract for 5 seasons, so Lone Star's guaranteed 5 seasons, that was the other thing. So it's definitely opened a can of worms, and we're going to hear a lot more over the summer trying to figure things out. Guys should come and join us on Discord and we can talk about it. We don't know. Everything's up in the air, but I'm excited. Lone Star is coming back. We are getting a season 5.
Yes.
They are currently filming episode 10 of 12. We're going to get 12 episodes of season 5. If it is the series finale and the show doesn't pick up, we don't get a season 6. I'm grateful that we've gotten the 5 seasons that we've got, and if it continues somehow by some miracle, awesome. Or if they decide to move some characters to Los Angeles and bring them on to
that
911,
has been a joke that is honestly keeping me going with everything that's come out. That is keeping me going because there's been this running joke. Somebody was like, because I posted a video when this all went down, and I'm getting new comments on the video every day, which is just like great. And somebody was like, I don't know, I think it's time for TK to transfer to LA to the 118 and Carlos can work with Athena. And I'm like, hey.
Listen, I would love to see Carlos and Athena work together.
Yes.
But
that is like a good joke that is keeping me going. I don't care how unrealistic that is. I really like it. And I think just in general about this whole news is like Tim saying that season 5 hasn't aired. That's like so like not valid, just because of the fact that like comparing it to other shows, same thing happened with Station 19. They were filming season 7 when they found out that they were getting canceled and that season 7 would be their last season. So like the same thing could happen. I've seen several videos online of people being like, I'm getting deja vu. And I'm like, guys.
Right. And I I just hope that if season 6 is the end, or season 5 is the end, and we don't get a season 6, that they wrap up enough storylines that they're not leaving us with a bunch of question marks.
Yeah, that's Station
Yeah.
19 did a really good job of like ending their series when they really had to scramble with only 10 episodes. So
Yeah.
I just hope that like, because this just came out and they're just at the end of their season. I just hope that if it is the end, even if they don't know it yet, I hope they wrap it up. And I don't know how they're gonna do that because they have like literally so many storylines they have to wrap up. But
Especially surrounding Gabriel's murder. And
yeah,
now with Grace not being in the show, what the hell are they doing there? Like they've
yeah.
got so much they need to do.
And behind the
And don't we
scenes,
still have Owen's storyline too? Like we have a bunch going on. How are we supposed
yeah.
to do this in 12 episodes?
Granted that I feel like was an easy wrap up, and that would probably be wrapped up within the first 2 episodes of the season. Honestly, I don't really care about that storyline compared to everything else.
Yeah. But like all that is say is they have a lot of storylines to do. So obviously we have nothing, we do not know anything that anyone else
Right.
doesn't. Like we don't have answers. We don't know if the show is gonna be continued.
Right. We
From what
know
it
as
sounds
much
like
as you
they
guys
might not
know.
know they might not know yet.
Right.
So of course we want Lone Star to continue for a while, just as we wanted 901 to be able to continue for a while. If Fox cancels it, I hope it's picked up by another. If not, we'll figure it out. If anything, I just hope that we get a full and fulfilling and not too much season 5. Because I think every storyline deserves a good wrap up, regardless of where we're going next with this. But also, I hope they give us answers on this as soon as they're able to, conclusively in the form of a season 6 renewal or a cancellation, whatever happens.
Right.
I just don't want this to be a hanging question mark over the entire season.
Right. And I think Rafa said it best.
Oh yeah, I liked what he said because it made me think like, wait, what does this mean?
Right. I'm looking.
What did he say?
Oh, I have it on my phone.
I
He
know.
was like,
I'm looking. I'm like, it's a quote, and it's like, wherever the ship sails, grateful for the family I've created on this show. So,
just like, Rafa, what do you mean? That's what I
right,
thought.
Rafa!
which he's met a lot of amazing actors. He was like a baby actor when honestly, like this was his first major role outside of a few guest appearances on some other stuff. So this is his like first major job, and to have it last 5 seasons is amazing. So, and he's met a lot of amazing actors. He's rubbed elbows with like Gina Torres, Rob Lowe, Liv Tyler. I mean, some young actors could only dream of that. So
Jim Patrick, is that his actor's name? Jim Patrick? Yeah.
Jim Parrick.
Very established. Parrick, thank you. I knew it wasn't quite Patrick, but I couldn't remember
I know.
it.
I would say
Even Sierra McLean is a pretty well-known name. Like,
yeah.
Between
Also,
Rafa and Ronan and
Ronan.
Jules. Natasha had roles before, but I feel like this is one of her her larger ones. So like
it's a longer role because I think she was on other shows that got canceled like after 1 or 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Also, did
I
you
liked
guys
her character
hear
in that military one?
I never watched that, but I kind of want to.
Never saw
Sometimes
it.
I like watching shows that are canceled because I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. Did you guys hear that? Like, apparently the season arc, or not the season arc, the couple episodes arc for Lone Star season 5 is gonna be a trail drama, and people are like, I feel like I've seen this before, but I don't know where. And honestly, I was gonna make that joke too.
Yeah.
See, I would think it'd be really funny if they brought in Connie as someone else.
Somebody was joking about that. They're like, what is Michelle gonna show up on the train? I will literally die laughing on my ass if that happens.
Oh my god.
I don't think
That'd
that's
be
gonna happen, but I
so
would
funny.
literally die laughing. And it's just like the thing is like a lot of shows cross networks. They the storylines like overlap just because of the fact they use them from base things off of real emergencies, real things that happen. Like there was a time when multiple shows were doing like the hospital hacking thing and stuff. Like I would watch it on one show and then the next day I'd watch it on a different show. airing at the same time. So it's just funny how that stuff happens.
Yeah, and I was just scrolling through looking for that quote. I saw this other one. It was a tweet. Somebody's like, "What's worse than being kidnapped, drugged, almost dying from hypothermia, and parents' death?" And then someone's like, "Oh, they haven't had an amnesia storyline yet." And then the comment underneath it was the best. Delete this before Tim sees it, please.
That's right. We
like,
haven't on either show. I don't think we've had an amnesia storyline. Oh boy.
I think the closest thing we've had is Buck's coma dream.
Yeah,
I don't
because
know.
that like.
Well, I mean, we did the chimneys thing with the wedding. He was kind of forgot some things.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, at first,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know necessarily if I want that kind of storyline just because I feel like it's kind of overdone.
For sure. It definitely is. But also, like, I don't know. It's definitely one of those like standard ones that we have not seen as much of.
Yeah.
So
I'd actually like to write one.
honestly, yeah.
I see. I'm all for like reading it. I actually read a book like in last December. It was like a comedy, like sort of love story where it was about this like girl that got hit by a car basically. And before she got hit by the car, she was like going to go to the person who like that she was in love with, and then she gets hit by this car, and then she's in the hospital, and then like three guys show up, and so she has to figure out like which one she was in love with. But then like it was a really good book, and it was really funny too. And like that's what that reminds me of, I guess.
See, if we had it on the show, I would want it to be a very brief thing where it's the kind of cutesy storyline that we hear in like real life stories where they're like, no, but I think I have a wife, or I think I have a husband. They're like, honey, I am your wife / husband. They're like, oh, nice. And that's about it. Like that's about as much as I want to get from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this fall is going to be interesting.
Yeah, it is.
I think that's about as much as we can say.
And we're gonna have 2 episodes airing a week. I don't know how we're gonna work that, girls, but we'll figure it out.
2 episodes a week.
Oh yeah.
No, as in
2 episodes shows.
911.
Oh, I got confused for a second. I was like, we're doing what now?
Oh no, we will not have 2 podcast episodes a week.
My God, guys,
I don't have time for that. I love you guys and I want to
no
keep
one
going,
has time.
but
the person
no
who
one has
does
time.
the notes,
The editing.
I'm doing what now?
And everything else.
No, you're not.
Sorry.
Yeah, well,
We're
so
not doing
more than
that to you.
likely we'll follow one show like we have in the past, and the other one we will curtail in during breaks or do that when the other season is over. So we will.
It'll likely be like Lone Star then that one, especially if like this is our last season. Obviously, we're gonna want to talk about it when it's live. And like if one airs before the other, we could always like say not one airs before Lone Star. We could always do 9-1 and then like switch over to Lone Star or whatever. Obviously, we don't know when they're airing. Obviously, all we know is fall or like September, but that's all we know.
Which is very ambiguous.
Also, if we do lose Lone Star, at least we still have 9-1.
Yeah,
and like we're not gonna like change our name or anything like dramatic like that. We'll still like be the same podcast we always have been, but like because that's where we started, and it like holds a special place. And I just, even if we were to lose all the shows, I think we would evolve into something else. But this would always be like our start, and it symbolizes so much. So. And 9-1 is still in there, if you know.
Like 9-1 and Lone Star, like 9-1 Lone Star Roundup. Like it's nice like that. Thank you.
Yeah, and Lone Star's, it'll always be like where we got our start. So of course we'll keep the name, and you know, even if Lone Star doesn't continue, it doesn't mean we can't revisit the episodes in the future or like do a rewatch together or something. We could figure out ways of keeping it going, and it's kind of an honor to have it keep going. So we're gonna keep doing something as long as we can, and you know, as our platform grows larger, and you know, maybe we can, I know it's been a dream for all of us to have some of the actors actually come on the podcast. So maybe, you know, if one of the actors is no longer on the show, we could get them on the podcast. So we'll see. But we're going to take a break for the summer. As you guys know, the summers can get kind of hectic. So we'll take a break and have some fun and come back in the fall when we have a better idea what 901 Lone Star do look like for the fall. And we know we're only getting 12 episodes of Lone Star. So I don't know if they're going to split it up and do like 6 and 6, like 6 in the fall and 6 in the spring, or if they're going to do it all together.
I don't know. I've gone back and forth with it. In one sense, I feel like it might be like fall, but then in another sense, I feel like they might air like a handful of the episodes in the fall, and then like it'll just have a really like I think another show on Fox, like they aired some of theirs in the fall, but then they finished like super early in like the next year. Like I want to say like February or March. I feel like it could be something like that. Honestly, who
Right.
friggin' knows?
I
But
just
that's
wasn't sure
it's just a
because
thought.
Fox likes to air their mid-season shows starting in mid-January, so I was just thinking they probably want Lone Star finished up by then. Yeah, I think we'll have fun. And yeah, so don't worry, we're not going anywhere. Except we're taking a break for
We're
the summer.
still here.
We
Yes.
always take a
Because
break
we
in the
all have
summer.
things to do.
Yeah, we all have something to do. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining and listening to us. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to check out our website at 911lsroundup.com. You can follow the podcast on our socials at 911lsroundup on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. And you can also check out our Discord server. The link's in the description box and on our website.
You guys can follow me, Katie, at Love Carlos on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads.
You guys can follow me, Grace, at Ronan Rafa 911 on Instagram and at SheepGirl31 on Twitter.
And you can follow me, EJ, at EJ8302 on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, pretty much everywhere on social media. Bye.
All right, bye.